Welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm your host, Hamza Idris. In this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. And today, we will focus on matters arising in the Action Democratic Party, ADP. But before then, we will start with the story of the emergence of a new Director General of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council in the person of Balogun Akin.
We are pleased to
as one of our tidbits. Until his new appointment, the ACT journalist, writer, and strategist was the Southern Zonal Director of the OB Campaign Council. The appointment of the new campaign DG was announced by the National Chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, at a strategic meeting of stakeholders of the party following the conviction and sentencing of its immediate past DG, Doyin Okupe, over money laundering charges. The Labour Party said all is set for the continuation of its campaigns at all levels and that the temporary setback will not affect its chances of winning the 2023 general elections. Recall that the Federal High Court has found Okupe, who served as spokesperson of former President Goodluck Jonathan, guilty and sentenced him to 2 years in prison with an option of fine. He has paid the 13 million naira fine, but went ahead and resigned his position of campaign DG of the Labour Party.
We are pleased to announce one of our comrades, a man that is well known, also from the same geopolitical zone, because the campaign council, the party offices are well structured along that line, because we appreciate the fact that we must employ federal character as is enshrined in the Constitution and all of that. And so having put all of this into consideration and having consulted widely, we have come to the inevitable conclusion to replace the DG with Akin Oshutekun. Akin Oshutekun is also from the southwest, and until this appointment, he has been the zonal coordinator of the Presidential Campaign Council in the southwest. He is the most senior officer in the campaign council after Doyin Okupe.
Also, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party has clarified statement credited to him, alluding to Nigerians living in IDP camps. Speaking to journalists on the sidelines of the Labour Party's strategic meeting in Abuja, Obi said the statement is denigrating as it's being painted, but in line with current situation in the country. Hear him.
As they're home, if they're not in their houses, Nigeria is not in their houses. That's not the marketing. Because I've said it before, as long as there's insecurity in the northeast, there's insecurity in Nigeria. As long as there's insecurity in northwest, there's insecurity in Nigeria. As long as there's insecurity in southeast, there's insecurity in Nigeria. The same thing. Just like I always say, at this present, if you say, yes, the highest number of people without job are in the north, the highest number of out-of-school children are in the north, but Nigeria has the highest number of jobless people. I said, as long as.
And elsewhere in Kano, a national commissioner in the Police Service Commission, Najatu Mohammed, has said that money looted by appointees of government in the last 8 years is enough to pay every citizen of the country 732,000 naira. I don't know where she got that figure. But Najatu, who is actually a fearless advocate of good governance, made this statement while featuring in a Freedom Radio program in Kano as part of an award presentation and public lecture recently held in honor of a police officer, Daniel Iseama. The event was organized by the Center for Awareness on Justice and Accountability, KAJA, in collaboration with the Pell Light Center for New Media innovation. And to discuss these issues and issues relating to his political party, we are joined by the chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, and presidential candidate of the Action Democratic Party, ADP, Engineer Yaba Gisani. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Hamza.
We're happy having you.
Yeah, thank you.
I wonder, why are you still campaigning? Almost all politicians have retreated. They have gone to their villages.
Well, Niger and Abuja
is one place.
Yeah.
Maybe you creep in the morning and come back to
the
center.
Okay. Yeah, even yesterday I was at home.
Wow.
Yeah, so
good.
It's one of those things.
That is good.
You dragged me here. You said I must come for this.
Exactly, because we want to hear from you happenings in your party. Yeah. Well, viewers, compliment of the season once again. We'll go on a quick break now, and when we return back, the conversation with Engineer Sani commences. Don't go away. Yes, Engineer. The latest development, though not related to your party, but you are the chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council. It's in Labour Party. The emergence of a new DG of campaign of Peter Obi and Dekti ahead of 2023. I'm talking to you as chairman of all the political parties. Some people are saying this is actually a protege of Chief Obasanjo. Does that mean that Obasanjo has already made up his mind along Peter Obi, or is just a coincidence?
Well, President Obasanjo, as a senior citizen of this country and a statesman, cannot afford, to be on one side when it comes to the issue of national politics, because he personifies the nation itself, and its politics. So for that reason, as an individual, yes, he may have his preference.
Yeah.
But as a senior citizen, and I think it would not be right, for him to be seen to be a partisan, politician. Because of his status, because of what he represents in the country.
Yeah.
So when you see the likes of Osuntokun taking over from Doyin Okupe,
yes,
it's just the fact that in politics, you always like to balance the representation. So, Doyin is from the southwest.
Yes.
And of course, Labour Party would like to balance that equation so that the people of southwest will not feel that they have been shortchanged. Somebody has been picked from maybe southeast or north or wherever, So I think that's what informed the choice of
and not because the social media is actually awash this afternoon that this confirms Obasanjo's endorsement of Peter Obi.
No. I mean, I'm planning to visit.
That is the question I wanted to ask you, because
I'm sure
candidates have been trooping to,
even my
Obasanjo library.
My last outing, I visited him. He received us warmly.
Okay.
He was very happy that we were there. He had very encouraging, words.
Remarks.
Yes, remarks that he gave us. And every candidate that goes to Obasanjo, he welcomes you, wholeheartedly, because, like I said, his status is such that he cannot afford, to deny anybody.
Yes.
So he has to, play that role so that politics itself and the polity itself will now be, bolstered, by such encouragement.
Call to service.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I don't think it's an indication of anything at all. Believe you me.
So you are not threatened by the nocturnal, because people say there is this nocturnal romance between Obasanjo, people around him.
Don't forget, in spite of what he had said in the past about Atiku, Atiku was at his place and he received them very well. He had very good remarks to make about Atiku, and as a senior citizen, a statesman for that matter, that's the role he should play. Encourage every citizen, to aspire to be whatever he wants to be, provided you are in line with the constitution of the country, and not to take sides, because he cannot take sides.
Yeah. I realize that these prominent citizens, their houses are gradually becoming a sort of a sanctuary for politicians to visit. Do you still believe that they have what it takes to sway opinion of the over 90 million registered voters in Nigeria to say, okay, Mr. A is the right person, you people should go and vote for him or for her?
No, you see, they represent the soul, if you like, of this country, because somebody who has been the president of this country, like I said before, personifies what this country stands for. And his words, has to be taken with that, with that sense of responsibility and commitment to the cause of this country, because they want to leave a legacy that, they'll be proud of. So that's why visiting them is not only for the sake of, garnering more votes or votes. No. It is for you to identify with the nation itself, because they personify the country. International community also, they also consult them, they visit them to find out what is happening, and they and in African context too, you go there for blessing, because they are senior citizens, and actually
this gets me confused by the day, because presidential candidates, many of them, you are also a presidential candidate. You see them saying that we are going to change, the narrative, the destruction by former leaders and all that. So where do we actually find, the middle ground between what they did, whether it is atrocities or whether it's corruption or whatever, and going forward? Because it's like telling all those coming up that without these people, you are going nowhere also.
No, that's not the issue.
Okay.
The issue is that maybe, like you said, they may have done some things which they themselves are not happy about, which is life itself, really. You are not perfect, you can't be perfect. So with that benefit of hindsight, they can tell you that, we support you, we're encouraging you, but beware of this
A, B,
and
C,
so.
D,
Yes, because we have seen it. It didn't. We thought it was going to be like this, but it's a different thing entirely. So that kind of advice, you can't get it. You can't get it from experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
So nobody can be perfect. There can never be a perfect administration anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that because when the person was, at the helm of affairs,
they got
it wrong, or some things, did not work the way they want, that person is completely bad. No. Every president, I'm sure, wishes that he has the best, of the governance that he can deliver, for his people, to his people. But dynamics, things come up that you may not have planned because of the nature of life itself, the dynamics that are involved in the act of governance. It's not everything that you can be able to plan, for. You can. So those who have seen it before can tell you that, please beware of this, give emphasis to this, do this, don't do this.
Yeah.
You can't get that from anywhere except from somebody who has seen it before.
Because as a political reporter, I wrote it somewhere. I said, let me see among the 18 presidential candidates who will have the guts not to visit the likes of Obasanjo, Babangida, Abdul Salami, and the rest, to say, okay, I am facing actually a different direction. I want to get it to the villa without the endorsement or whatever of these people, to see how far that candidate will go. But it appears every other person feels that without actually going to see these people, Nigerians will not even see him as a candidate.
No, that is far from that.
Okay.
I think what it is that they believe that these are human beings.
Yeah.
They believe that they are different.
Okay.
There are not many former presidents around.
Yeah.
They have the experience which you don't have,
yeah.
which nobody also has. So the issue is that when you go to them, you are telling them that, well, sir, I want to be guided. I want to learn from you. what is it that you did, that you are not happy about, or the ones you did which you are happy about? What can you see from now on what is going to happen? Because if you have seen the past and the present, you'll be able to project what the trajectory is going to be and what is going to happen. And it can guide you from his experience that I think you should do this. You guys should not do this. So I think it's for that. As far as voting is concerned, as far as getting votes is concerned, that belongs to the electorates. Yeah. And in most cases, the electorates will not see it the way they are seeing it. But as you who aspires to be a leader, it's a lot of, it makes a lot of sense to interact with those who have been there before. Yeah. It's not that that this person says vote this way, the electors may go that way. But for you, as an individual, it's important to you, to get the experience that they have acquired, and that is what they are there for. What else can they do? Is to guide you, because nobody can tell you what the future is going to, the future holds. But somebody can tell you, from what I saw when I was there, I think this and that can, be something that you should give emphasis to, and move away from this and that. So I think that's what it's all about.
All right.
That's why if in fact they can even decide to invite all the presidential candidates and sit down with them, have tea and discuss, and then encourage them, to go out.
I know you would like that as chairman.
No, I would like that, of course.
Okay,
definitely, I would like that.
Back to Obi, engineer. You can see what happened with his, what happened to his campaign DG Okupe. He was indicted and he had to leave. Some people say the mere fact that he actually told the court that what happened to him, it was actually on technical grounds, not the real corruption allegations that they were able to nail him. And he said he wasn't aware that it was wrong to transact in more than 5 million and all that. And then they used that to convict him. People say that the fact that he accepted that, he paid the fine and then went ahead to resign his position as campaign DG is unprecedented in Nigeria, because we have this sit-tight syndrome among all people holding position of authority, and that decision he took to greater extent bolster the image of Obi. Or you have contrary view on that it actually
as leader of political parties,
yes,
chairman of IPAC,
yes,
I think I commend him for doing that, and that tells you how much we have grown as Nigerians in terms of political activities, and then our actions in politics, and what we want to be remembered for, and how we want to build this democracy that is built on the strength of character of the people. That the sit-tight syndrome that I talk about, it's not good for us in Africa. It has not helped the growth of democracy on this continent. So you also had Goodluck Jonathan himself, congratulating President Muhammadu Buhari before even the polls closed.
Yeah,
so that is also in 2015. Yeah. So that tells you that our democracy is maturing, and it is coming to be at par with those so-called developed democracies like America, Europe, other places like that. So it's kudos to my friend, Doyin Okupe, and I congratulate Labour Party, for also maintaining that balance, the status quo
by getting his replacement
exactly from that part of the country.
Yeah.
So I think it's a plus for democracy what happened in the Labour Party. That's how I see it. Okay. So any other thing that one may want to say is a different thing entirely. Exactly. That has to do with the political aspect of it.
Well, the last on Labour Party is this new drama around IDPs. It's like all politicians now, especially the presidential candidates, whenever there is celebration, they rush to meet the IDPs and say, I will take you back home, I will do A, B, C, D. And we've been having them since 2010, if I recall. Because after the Boko Haram 2009, by 2010, we started having IDPs. Now, 12 or 13 years down the line, we still have IDPs, not only in the Northeast, but now across Nigeria, because of you know, is it the failure of the system to actually cater for these people and take them back home, or to address the insecurity? What do you think you will do differently from the media stone, you know, that we always see, like what is happening today? You know,
Well,
the candidates going to IDP camps telling them, I will take you back home.
Yeah, that's playing to the gallery. But the issue is this. You know,
Yeah.
the actual issue is this. If you look at our party, our manifesto,
Yeah.
you know, we said we are going to govern by the rule of law. Because when you govern by the rule of law, everybody gets to be treated fairly, equally. And when you do that, it allows you to build and grow this economy to the level where IDPs will not have no room to exist. You know, poverty at the level it is today.
You have the roadmap?
Yeah, of course, we have. Our roadmap is that we are going to use 3 planks, which in fact is the totality of the narrative that you have today globally as far as economic system is concerned, global economic system is concerned. What are these 3 elements?
Okay.
Climate change, energy transition, information technology. The whole global narratives today about how to grow the global economic system is about these 3 things: climate change, energy transition, information technology. Information technology because it is the driver of the 4th industrial revolution. And when you talk about 4th industrial revolution, information technology, Nigeria is ahead of most of the countries. If not, I think we belong to the first 5 countries that you can talk about as far as information technology is concerned, because we have young people, dynamic young people that have this knowledge. You can see the new techs that developments, you know, amount of money coming to Nigeria, you know, to encourage and invest in these new techs that, you know, have been, you know, discovered by these young people. That's information technology, which means Nigeria, as a government, you know, my administration will see how we can make it possible for our young ones to explore the potentials, you know, in the information technology and grab those opportunities, you know, for more investments in our economy and also chase out poverty from our land. Number 2, if you look at the climate change, what is climate change all about? It's about renewable energy, isn't it? Moving away from fossil fuel to go to renewable energy. The bridge between where we are today and where we want to be, Nigeria is one of the 4th country in the world as gas, you know, producing country, gas reserve country. We are the 4th, you know, country in the world that has deposits of gas, which means we belong to the category of those that will benefit immensely from the climate change that the whole world is talking about. We had we have COP27, you know, meeting in Egypt just about a month or so ago, and trillions of dollars have been made available to help countries like Nigeria for adaptation, for mitigation, and things like that. So, which means Nigeria is properly positioned. That's why I think I want to commend this government, Buhari's administration, for creating. I understand an agency has been created now, you know, to properly manage the issue of climate change. I mean, it's so important. That's why our administration, we have already identified it as one of the policy thrusts of our government, where a lot of money can come to be invested in this economy, so that we will pay our debt. We will even grow this economy to even be at a rate of 10%, you know, year on year. That's our GDP can go that level if we tap effectively into climate change, you know, narratives that is, and then the funds made available for that. Then you come to the issue of the energy transition that I talked about, which is energy transition itself is also intertwined with the issue of climate change, because we are talking about fossil fuel, isn't it? And then the fossil fuel, Nigeria also were number 6, if not you know, higher than that, in terms of the volume of crude oil that we export outside this country to the world. So meaning that we, because we have gas, like I said before, we stand a better chance than any other country on the continent of Africa, and if you like, in the world, to benefit immensely from the trend, you know, of economic development today in the world, in the whole world, which is information technology, climate change, energy transition. So these are the things that our government is going to use as our policy thrust, so that we can effectively and immensely, you know, grow very fast, you know, the education sector, the health sector, the oil and gas reserve sector, and then the infrastructure development sector, and chase out corruption from our lives, and be able to enable, key in the youth, our youth and women, into the narratives, the global narratives, in the world. Why I kept saying global is that Nigeria is such a country that cannot live as an island like we are doing now. We are not sufficiently tapping into those resources available to us. When in fact we have our women and men, out there, leading those agencies, like you have Amina Mohammed and UN, and UN is very much involved in all these things. Even the COP27 we're talking about, that is the committee set up by UN. And then when you talk about World Trade Organization is headed by a woman from Nigeria. That's Okonjo Iweala. So, and then African Development Bank is headed by Akinwumi. So how best can we be positioned in the world to take advantage and plow those things into the economy of this country?
Well,
so just the leadership.
The snack here, engineer, is somebody who has been at an IDP camp for nearly 1.5 decades.
Yes.
But there are some who are approaching 15 years in IDP camp. These young people, and they're talking about them. I'm asking, how will you really address this?
No, I talked about corruption. The issue is, even Mr. President himself says that the governors are thieves. And I agree with him completely, because you have no business having IDP camps if the budgets that the governors are coming to Abuja to collect, these FARC and all these things, if they invest it in the domestic economy in their states.
But what stopped us from actually stripping them of this so-called immunity? Because they are hiding behind immunity to perpetrate most of these crimes. And I don't think if constitution should be treated as a sacred book.
Before you strip them of the immunity you're talking about, it takes a long process, because you have to go through National Assembly. And by and large, they control the National Assembly, the governors, because they are the ones sponsoring the Senate and the House of Rep members. Most of them are there, because the governors supported them. So, but before then, what our government will do is to ensure that we sufficiently, empower Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission, who is in charge of even the salaries that you pay to the civil servants, and then even the amount of money that is given to the governors at the tiers, the sharing formula of the revenue. So if you empower that agency in its act they have the power to suggest to the governors and monitor what the governors are doing with the allocation they are taking away from the center. And because Mr. President has to sign, some of this money that goes to the state, you cannot close your eyes and say, well, they have that they have protection from the what do you call it, from the Constitution, that they are independent. They are not independent as such, because educational sector, and there are still those legislative list, on the Constitution, which is under the purview of the center. That's Mr. President. So Mr. President can really exercise his powers within those areas that are still within the powers of Mr. President, to ensure that these monies that they are collecting, they use it, to the advantage of the people. But that is not the issue today. That's not what is happening. So before you get to stripping them of their immunity, you can. Even as it is today, people can be taken to task. What is wrong, Mr. President, suing a governor? The center can sue the governor.
They will say he has immunity, he cannot be tried.
Well, immunity does not translate to irresponsibility.
And this is what we are witnessing now.
You are witnessing that, because even the center itself is not taking care of the center in the manner when you talk about the corruption.
And it was so shocking, as you rightly said, when the president said, the governors, they have usurped the powers of the local government areas. They take all the money, they give the local government chairman peanuts. But the rhetoric stopped there. As candidate of a political party, assuming you win, now what will you do to actually get that extra power that you can checkmate the governors?
No. As a chief executive, at the center, you have almost overwhelming, powers. In the sense that, look at what Obasanjo did, to governor, to Lagos State, when he denied them, the subvention that's supposed to go to them for the local governments and what have you. It's because they didn't follow what he believes is the right thing to do. as the president, then you can go to court. Let us be in the court forever, as long as it takes. If you don't behave, as the president, I'm not supposed to just allow you to go
be on your
own. To be on your own when you are not doing the right thing. You are taking this money, buying houses, doing all sort of nonsense with people's money, and you want me as Mr. President to keep quiet, to just watch you, allow you to come and be, packing our sovereignty. I mean, our Commonwealth, and then you fritter it away. That's why Obasanjo did not give Lagos State, their local.
You supported him. You support what he did.
Of course, 100%, because you can't be irresponsible under immunity, what have you. If what they were doing is in line with the Constitution or in line with common sense, it's okay. If you are spending this money on the people and they are growing the economy, of course, that's what the president wants. That's what the whole country wants. No president will interfere with any governor that is performing. It's unheard of. No matter how much you may not like that governor, you would like to encourage them, so that because they are doing what is right for their people.
Thank you very much.
ADP, Action Democratic Party, believe you me, we will ensure that each state receives whatever is due to them. But beyond that, we'll make sure that judiciously, apply. If not, we can fight you, as the government. That's why we are the federal government. We can go to court, But if you go to court, you know how long it takes in the court? I am the number one politician in the land at that point in time.
You know how to manipulate the process.
I can manipulate the process to serve the people.
Thank you very much. I will stop you here. Engineer Bagi, we will take a short break. Okay. And when we come back, I will ask you more questions on this, because like Tinubu, he keeps asking Nigerians to vote for him because of what he did in Lagos, despite the hard, approach by President Olusegun Obasanjo. Because we will go on a short break. When we return, the conversation continues. Don't go away.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Inherited a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secured are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at England's squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we still have in the studio Engineer Yabagi Yusuf Sani, presidential candidate of the Action Democratic Party, and he also doubles as chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council. Once again, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, before we went on break, you're actually hammering on the excessive powers around the governors and how you intend to checkmate it.
Yeah.
One of the candidates who you are actually vying the same office with, he keeps showing the examples in Lagos. And I think, if I'm not wrong, Obasanjo stopped his allocation because he created development areas, right? Among many other issues, but partly, he said there are a certain total number of local governments in the state. Why creating? But it is now a template across Nigeria. I don't know whether they are faring well. Most of these development areas, not to talk of the local government areas. And it is generally believed that unless we get it right at the grassroots, Nigeria will never progress. What will you do to redeem the image of local government areas?
Well, I also would like to commend President Muhammadu Buhari for one of the executive orders which he gave, but was, I think, opposed.
Yeah, by the governor, you can see how they exude.
Yes, but because they have a president like Muhammadu Buhari, otherwise another president will call their bluff.
If it were you, what will you do?
I will call their bluff.
How?
I have so many powers that I can use, to also, get back at them.
So it's a sign of failure on the side of the president.
Exactly.
His inability to actually
to fight.
ensure the executive order.
Exactly. Works. That is the tragedy of the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing was well thought out. It's not that the president wants the money to come to the center. All that he wanted to do was to ensure that the money gets to where it must get to. The system is not so irresponsibly designed. It was designed, the independence given to them is not for them to steal. We can go to, if you like, let's go to International Court of whatever.
Wow, it's like you're taking it higher there. No, but they have 3 tiers of government.
I have 3 tiers.
With their powers clearly spelled out.
No, don't get it wrong.
Okay.
Don't get it wrong. I was elected, God willing, I'll be elected by the people that elected them. So it wasn't, in fact, those who elected me did not elect them. The president is elected by the entire country, isn't it? Mm. So if they say that the same man, the same person that voted for, he voted for me too. And he voted for me as your senior in terms of authority. So whatever you are claiming that you have as a hold, to do what you are doing, I have a higher authority by the virtue of the votes that was given to you, because the same person voted for me too. That's why I'm the president. Mm. So I'm not equal with you at all. When the reason why I'm the president is to superintend over the system itself, the entire system, that it works.
I remember Obasanjo had to use legislators, for instance, in Plateau State, to get at Darie, but later that power was also checkmated, that you can't just remove governor by executive fate, even if the state assembly, supported the demand at the center. I mean,
if what you are doing is axiomatic, meaning that it's something that is in the interest of everybody, yes, you will get some frustrations. You get some. They will go and hire lawyers and then come and say sort of. I will hire also, more powerful lawyers to go and argument. We can be filibustering if you like in the court, adjourning while you are suffering as the governor.
But what will happen to the people at the grassroots? Will they remain the proverbial grass?
No. They will not. They will not.
You will find a way of reaching out.
Yeah, of course, certainly. I mean, you have to think out of the box. That's what the system is all about. That's how you grow the system. Mm. You don't allow all these things that are not intended.
The encumbrances.
To suffer. I mean, to affect the entire governance. And as it is happening in Nigeria today. So. You talked about Tinubu and his Lagos. Something. Lagos, you see, the GDP of this country itself, if you look at it, almost 90% of it is by the private sector, that contributes to the GDP of this country. So anybody can be governor of Lagos State and then make it, because it's not really the subvention that you're talking about.
It's because of its position.
It's a position. It's a commercial center. Yeah. It's a commercial center, and even I'm talking about the entire GDP of a country, every country. Almost 90% of it is from the private sector, not the public sector. So if you deny the governor the money and he's a sensible person, he will get it from the private sector, because in fact there are countries that are run by fees, through fees that people pay, not even taxes.
Wow.
Yeah, there are countries that are run the economy, through fees. So as a government, you have so much, latitude, so much that you can do to really impact on the lives of your people positively, by way of, thinking out of the box, creating wealth.
So you're also part of those people who believe Nigeria is not poor.
Nigeria is not poor by all standards, whatever you want to look at. Look at the population we have, for God's sake. Young, dynamic population that are intelligent, that outside this country are number 1 or number 2. Give them any opposition. Look at what other governments outside Nigeria are doing. Biden, he has Nigerians, in his government, and so also United Kingdom. So the issue now is the leadership. That is the problem we have in this country. Because when you look at it, is it agriculture? Why did the colonial masters? Why did they come to this country? For agriculture.
For our resources,
resources, even then. Then now, look at God has added others, that is oil and gas, solid minerals, and a huge population that we didn't have before. So if you have a president that has it up here, like I do, believe you me, we turn things around within the shortest possible time. Before 100 days, Nigeria will be amazed that
in 100 days.
Within 100 days, you can do that, because
Engineer, are you on the same page with Najatu, who claim that the money looted by government employees, if recovered, will be enough to share 732,000, nearly a million.
Nobody has denied the 70 trillion naira that somebody said that it's covered hidden in the banks. CBN was mentioned, First Bank was mentioned, Zenith Bank was mentioned, other banks were mentioned. None of them has come out to deny.
You're talking about Gudaji Kazaure.
Gudaji Kazaure. And he's supposed
to... You agree with what he said?
He's a member of the House of Representatives.
But it disowned him, the House.
Who?
The House, the members, they disowned him during one of their...
Well, let them prove it. Let them prove it. Let them prove it. You know the system under which we are operating, of course they will disown him. If most of them are part of the loot that you're talking about, why wouldn't they disown him? But the fact of the matter is that nobody has denied that there's this 70 trillion naira. Let them come out. Yeah, stamp duty. Well, and where is the account? Who is holding the account of that 70 trillion naira? And not only that, even what banks are doing and the CBN is doing, believe you me, that's what has got this country to where we are today.
Even the presidency disowned him. You know, Garba Shehu issued a statement that Buhari did not commission that. Assuming you are President Buhari, what will you do differently?
Well, the issue is this. Why do you set up the system of whistleblowers? Why do you do that? And if it's true that what he said is not true,
and he showcased many papers.
Exactly. He doesn't enjoy any immunity. He's not a governor. Let them arrest him. Let them take him before the court. You know.
You are referring to Gudaji.
Yes. Let them arrest him, and then you hear more. You know, and that's what they're afraid of. Issue a statement is not enough.
Wow.
You know, it's not enough. Because look at what happened to the Accountant General Federation, who stole how much? Almost close to 200 billion naira.
Yeah.
Okay, why did they stop the investigation? Why did they set up a commission of inquiry, judicial commission of inquiry to probe more?
Yeah.
When the guy starts singing, they stopped him. And then they said, let them give him bail. This is the system under which we are coming to change.
What will you do differently if you win under AD?
Oh, look, you see, countries like Singapore and what have you, they don't have it, it's not magic. That magic wand or anything like that.
That they are getting it right.
No. It's punishing somebody who has run foul of the law. Every other person will sit up.
Do you have the magic wand to confront the system? Because
we do. My magic wand is governance by the rule of law. That's our mantra as ADP and as presidential candidate. Governance by the rule of law.
During most of your campaigns, you describe Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, and even Konkoso, among others, as provincial presidential candidates, meaning they are actually riding on the horse of regionalism and all that. Where do you stand? Well,
where I stand, look at what is happening today. These guys have emerged as a result of the fault lines that we have, which Nigeria wants to quickly forget about, because it is the reason why we are where we are today. Those fault lines. The fault lines are religion, ethnicity, and regionalism.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the 3 or 4 candidates we are talking about, who the press have been, trying to load.
Not we actually. We only report what Nigeria.
No. I'm talking about what channels. I mean, Chinese television, AIT.
Anyway,
you see, Arise, or every time they want to talk about candidates, they say they bring the 4 out as if it's only the 4 that are running. Even NBC, Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, should have sanctioned them, because there's a law that says you have to give visibility to every candidate equally at the same time.
The way we are doing here.
The way you are doing here, but the rest are not doing it. So they in fact are the problems of this country. Those private television houses.
Yeah. But I think maybe they are not doing what we are doing, believing that you don't have what it takes to actually get to the villa.
Who says?
I don't know.
How do they know? How do they know how to get to the villa?
Even today, there was sampling. They have been doing polls. The one they did today showed Atiku will win. I saw another one 3 days ago. They said Obi will win. I didn't see Yaba Gisani.
Wait, don't rush yet. Wait.
Okay.
You will see wonders. Wonders that Nigerians will be pleased about. That they will say, thank God. We now have a relief, because there's a way out of all this quagmire that we are in. And like I was saying, you look at Obi is representing the Igbo sentiment. There's no other way to look at it. You look at Atiku is operating on the northern sentiment. There's no other way to look at it. And he even said it himself. Don't vote for other candidates because I'm a northerner. I don't know how northerners become the criteria.
Persons here, they said his statement was misconstrued.
Well, that's political jargon. The other way is that you go to Tinubu say, Emilio Khan, that I'm the Yoruba man, is son of the Yorubas. So how do we grow a country?
But what are you telling Nigerians?
I am from the North Central.
You write on that to say that North Central, they have never produced a president that's
the fact of the matter, but that's not why I'm even running.
Okay.
Why I'm running is that I know that I have the knowledge of how this economy is supposed to be run so that it will grow at its rate that God has given to it. Faster rate than what we are growing now. I have the knowledge of how the oil and gas sector works. Whether you like it or not today, this economy is about oil and gas sector. You need oil and gas sector to grow.
What extra mileage do you have against other candidates, especially in terms of fine-tuning how we are handling our oil and gas sector?
Oh, so many. I have submitted.
Will you also sell off the refineries? Because Tinubu said he will sell it.
No. Governance is not about the easy way out of the problems. No, governance is to be able to think out of the box. Why haven't you investigated the state of those refineries first?
They have been investigated. There are tons of.
I have done.
In fact, Jude Obasanjo sold them out. Adua brought them back.
No.
Now Atiku is saying he will sell them.
No.
Tinubu has joined the foray saying that he will also sell them.
No. You see, you have to look at the state of the economy and the nation itself, the country you are dealing with, in the sense that what are the fundamentals of this economy? That's what you have to ask yourself first. You don't other countries, even America, is looking at how they can, build big, gigantic corporations, as a government and get, private sector to key in.
If I understand, meaning you will not dispose of the refineries.
That is the easiest way out of the problem, and the easiest way is not the best way.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that even removal of subsidy, that somebody say, "Oh, I'll remove everything." No, you don't do that. What you do is.
Yes, I actually have a question on that because I know that even the most advanced democracies, they subsidize certain things.
Exactly.
So how are you going to handle ours?
I did
going by the provision of the PIA, which actually precludes subsidy.
PIA, as far as I'm concerned, is a swindle against these people of this country. And I'll tell you, allow me. I'm telling you. And they know it. Those who sponsor that PIA, they know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
They know that's a swindle. It's a fraud. Let me even use the word.
The whole PIA, the whole document.
Because it's a fraud. I'm telling you, and I can support it.
Please elucidate. Let me understand.
Okay, let me elucidate. The PIA is objective. Number one objective. The very first objective of introducing, since the time it was called OGIS, is supposed to be a way that you have transparency, accountability, and good governance, isn't it? When you are talking about transparency, accountability, and good governance, that means separation of power. That means division of labor. You have one agency of government checking the activities of the other one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's checks and balances must be there. Otherwise, you can't have accountability, transparency, and good governance. Hitherto, before the PIA, we had agencies of government checking the operations of oil and gas sector. The advent of PIA throw out these agencies, and they now have the entire oil and gas sector to themselves. Nobody checks what is happening.
Who are they?
You have Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, who issues the license in the export permit that you use to export crude oil and gas out of this country is issued by another ministry. And you now say that you want to take it over so that you can be issuing the export permit to yourself. Even the constitution of this country is against that, because the constitution gives the mandate of policies and practices of trade, international, domestic, to Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment. For a country that wants to be seen to be accountable, transparency, and what have you, that we want to have PIA, like you say, you wouldn't want to do that. In fact, what you want to do is to see, how do I have checks and balances? How do I have somebody checking what this guy is doing? Because the stakes are so high in the oil and gas sector. And they came and said, nobody should come and check what we are doing. The Accountant General Federation, I would say, stole 200,
allegedly, 190, yeah.
Because there are no meters in the oil and gas sector. Nobody is monitoring anything. They don't know how much we are producing.
How do you mean no meters? How do you mean no?
I have carried a study. The report is there with 90. I'm not, and the remediation efforts that we recommended has not been implemented yet. So we don't have meters that are up to par with the international best practice in the oil and gas sector. That's why you bring out, we are talking about fuel subsidies, isn't it? That's why vessels come in this country, they are not metered. They just tell the government that we have brought so much million tons of fuel, and which you must pay subsidy on. So, Action Democratic Party, my administration, when we come, if at all we give subsidy, we are going to give it at the pump. We will give it to you directly as a motorist, not given to third, parties, people who bring empty vessels and bring fake bill of ladings and collect billions for Nigeria. We will not do that. We will discontinue that one.
Are you now saying you will revisit the whole PIA document and take it back to
the whole thing will be revisited, believe me, because even as I speak, I know of ministries that have written, to the president to revisit the PIA because they have been shortchanged. You don't do that kind of thing with the Nigerian economy. That's not the objective of the PIA from the beginning. It is to introduce accountability, transparency, and good governance. You can't do that by making it 1 man's show. Like you have done it now. You have done it, today. Engineer,
you can only achieve in doing this after you win. How spread is your political party?
I'm going to win, Hamza.
Have you received the buy-in of Nigerians?
Yes, we have.
How?
Silently we are coming. Look at what is happening in Kano today. ADP. Look at what's happening in Kaduna. We just started, in Kaduna. It's all over the country. There is a revolution, political revolution, silently coming. That will engulf this country, and the people of the country will be happier, for what we are going to do, because they will see now that these, establishment, politicians will be shown the way out of the, show.
There is this insinuation that political parties that do not have representation at the moment, maybe members of House of Assembly, House of Reps, senators, governors, they are just daydreaming to start thinking of enjoying the goodwill of Nigerians to get to the presidency.
No, it's not true. Maybe that is possible before the introduction of beavers.
Okay.
Which INEC, before the introduction of the electoral law 2022, which you have today in place, before the introduction of all the technologies and innovations that INEC has brought to bear now. Before then, what you say could happen. And before the international community became so interested in what is happening in Nigeria, especially as far as elections are concerned. We've been receiving visitors. I've been interacting with international communities as far as this election.
But meaning you are doing your campaign differently, because we can see Atiku in big stadiums, doing campaign.
But Hamza, you know, like any other person that is, a keen observer, that the same crowd that you see in Tinubu's campaign, and they are the same crowd that you will see in Atiku's campaign.
Rented crowd.
So that
and you're not for those kind of.
We are not. We prove it.
Audience.
We proved it in Osun State. Now we came third in Osun election, the last official election we had. ADP came third. We didn't have those hired, crowd, that rented crowd that you are talking about. We saw, Labour Party came and the whole town was agog. This, Obi is here, all this. But what happened? End of the day, when the votes were cast, we are number 3. We garnered more votes than all those noise makers.
What stopped you from winning? What happened?
No, what is because in states like Osun, you had what both at the federal and the state level, you have the issue of the sitting governors, governments, that were using their positions, of course, to muzzle what we can do. But even at that, we proved that given full, the deployment of INEC, systems, and the fact that the international community, Nigerians themselves, will now be focused on who wins next, this election. Because Nigerians are not talking about parties.
They're talking about individual
candidates. That's what we're talking about. That's why people like us stand a better chance than any one of them that you see there.
Okay, finally, are you also scared? Because many Nigerians are expressing fears going by attacks on INEC facilities and other symbol of authority, that the election may not likely hold after all. What is your take on this?
No, there are two things that I think we are
in 1 minute we have run out of time already.
The issue of attack on INEC facilities. First of all, look at the underlying conditions. I mean, I'm talking about the restiveness that has been existing in those areas.
Yes. Southeast especially.
Southeast especially. That's why you're having, the attack is not on INEC facilities per se. The attack is on Nigeria because they are against Nigeria. And they believe that the only way they can vent their
Will you recommend that it should be tackled before the election?
Certainly should be tackled because they can handle it. They know where it is coming from. It's not something that you don't know. You know why it is happening. And if you investigate critically, you'll find that anywhere you have an attack on INEC facilities, it's not INEC that is the target.
It's the symbol of authority.
Exactly. It's Nigeria itself that they are attacking. And it's up to the authorities that are in charge of protecting us, to rise to the occasion and deal with the situation because they can deal with it.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ayaba Gisani, IPAC Chairman and Presidential Candidate of ADP, for coming to the program. Thank you. Viewers, that's a wrap on today's edition of the program, which we hope you enjoy, and hoping you join us tomorrow for another edition of the program. For now, thank you very much. Bye-bye. I'm Hamza Idris.